Hey, it's Rick. Welcome to the channel. In this video, I'll show you how I created this Pacer t-shirt design. I started by creating this rough mock-up in Photoshop. Given all the graphic elements of the background, I thought it would be better to do that part in Illustrator, so I imported the flat Photoshop image as a background I could trace over. This makes it easy to quickly alter line weights and change element colors, something I couldn't do as quickly in Photoshop. I started this project by searching online for 70s color palettes, and this is one of the options I found. I did add the color purple to this. I have a 6-color manual press and I wanted to max it out with a 6-color design. This graphic is white, beige, teal, orange, purple, and brown. There's no printed black since this will print on a black t-shirt. For these background stripes, I found it easier to create one, then copy and paste the rest. I've been on a bit of a car design kick lately. I think this will be the 4th or 5th one. I like to create shirt designs that you don't normally see a lot, and while there's a ton of Corvette and Camaro shirts, there's not a lot for Pacers. Maybe that's for a good reason. The good thing about doing this in Illustrator is that it's resolution independent. I could create this at any size, but when I go to output it or pull it into Photoshop, I can scale it to any size I like with no loss of quality. The text on curve tool is much better in Illustrator than it is in Photoshop. I picked a random font that I think has that 70s feel and create the text work around the shape. All these little bits I'm creating by duplicating the underlying shape and using that as a mask for the new shape above it. Now it's time to work on the car, and for that I'm back in Photoshop. I import the Illustrator artwork at 13 by 19 inches at 600 dpi. It's necessary to work at a high enough resolution. To separate your artwork, you'll need to use selection and masking tools, and it'll work out better for you if you've got lots of pixels to work with. This Pacer image is just something I found online. I decided to use the color purple sparingly. I only used it for the car body and the text in the background graphic. I'm recreating the car here as a more graphic version, deciding where to put and how to simplify highlight and reflection shapes. I'm also working out where all the colors will go. For a while I toyed with the idea of all the chrome bits being teal, but in the end I settled on beige for the chrome, with orange and brown as reflections and white as highlights. I had this idea that I would use halftones for the car's reflections. I thought it would provide a cool contrasty vibe to the car, separating it from the background. In the end, I thought it took away from the graphic feel, and I decided on something else. I'm keeping as many elements as possible on separate layers. In the end, the image will be flattened before it's separated, but it's handy to have everything separate so you can continue to move elements around and even duplicate things rather than recreate them. I took another crack at the windshield. I was determined that halftones were the way to go for this. This isn't a special halftone brush. This effect is created with a pattern fill and layer tricks. Finally, I gave up on that and experimented with more graphic shapes. When I was content with the windshield, I moved on to the hood of the car. This was another spot where I struggled a bit. I went down this path with these wavy graphic reflections, but I found them to be too much. I tried a few different things, but in the end I decided it'd be best to quickly draw in some new shapes and then clean them up with paths. I don't know why I settled on these. I think it was more about how they were spaced out over the purple rather than their accuracy or realism as reflections. I also think that because of their shape and color, they make the car look like it's a night scene, with these shapes possibly being neon lights from buildings or signs being reflected in the car. I used brown to show some dimensionality to the tires. I thought they were looking a little bit flat. I'm calling this finished. You can see how many layers there are. I think there's around 150. I'll flatten this down, and now I'm thinking about the back of the shirt. The most iconic part of the Pacer is the back end, so what better to put on the back of the shirt? I found a great pick online of the rear end, and I'm just going to give it that same treatment as the front. I steal the rims I've already created off the front image, just because I'm lazy. Now, I think to make the shirt complete, it needs a sleeve patch. I steal some more elements from the front of the shirt and lay this graphic out. Here's how the front has been separated into colors. Once the image is flattened, I use the Select Color Range tool to put each color on a separate layer. And here's all three elements together: the front, the back, and the sleeve. And that's going to be it for this video. I hope you got something inspirational from this and decide to start designing your own shirts. Don't forget to hit all the buttons on the way out. Thanks for watching.